We got the Show Me the Money episode here with Derek Moneyberg. He is a wealth coach, a speaker, entrepreneur. Such a pleasure to have you on the Playbook, my friend. How are you?
No, thanks so much for inviting me, Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, anybody that's here to empower people, to make money, help people, and have fun with their lives is welcome on the Playbook. And let's start with where that desire comes from. You and I have something in common, and it's how I start most of my speeches, is who here grew up poor? And, half the people out there will raise their hand. I say, you know what? I feel sorry for the rest of you. Why should people feel sorry for people that didn't grow up poor, that grew up with everything?
I think they're some of the most dissatisfied people. It sounds kind of, contrarian or hard to believe on the surface, but some of the people that I know that have the most depression or feel, feelings of inadequacy, et cetera, in their life, or people that were handed a lot of things they didn't earn themselves, and they sort of lack that purpose. Is something you talk about a lot of, purpose or fulfillment, that they have a hard time finding that in life. I grew up with shit, and I was very motivated to go to do something, build something, et cetera, and ultimately later to give back and help some other people to find that path in their lives.
And like all great wealth coaches, the relationship that you have with money changes. That when you grow up in scarcity as a victim, everything's happening to you. You just want to be rich. You know that you're equal to or greater than all of those that surround you. The only difference is they have more opportunities because they have more money. How has your relationship with money changed as you have, number one, made it yourself, but more importantly and more difficult, taught others to make money as well?
You get what you settle for. So, and I think a lot of people, I think one of the real traps is people are in the middle. They're surrounded by that, and everything's good and everything's okay, and that's how they live their life, and that's it. And I know you made a lot of money. You had difficulties with that. You made some more back, et cetera. And I went broke a couple of times. I had significant money for my age.
Yep.
And messed it up as a teenager. Messed it up again in my early 20s. And then I got tired of messing that up, and I've had a very good run for 15 years or so. So some thoughts I've had about it. You're going to have failures. You're going to have, I don't know, one really successful entrepreneur that hasn't had some, soul crushing moments that you feel embarrassed, you feel humiliated, you feel, you have a lot of negative emotions that a normal person wouldn't care to experience. The path of least resistance would be to do not much.
People, when I was poor, laughed at me, made fun of me, scoffed at me because I was poor. They made fun of the car that my mom drove, or the house that we lived in, or lack of house that we lived in, the clothes that I had to wear. I literally had hand-me-down underwear, right? That, food stamps, and people made fun of me. And it took me a long time to get over what people think, right? I have a saying: they laugh at you, they scoff at you, they make fun of you, then they applaud you. For you, were you able to reconcile, what other people thought of you as you, went through the successes and failures that you've gone through, and even the successes that you have today?
I learned to trust my own judgment a lot more than anybody else's. And I had a conversation once upon a time with Russell Simmons in this vein, that he's saying, look, anything you're going to do is going to be a failure probably for years until you make it a success. And if you think his career trajectory is, in the 80s, he's involved in music, and they say, oh, you can't do that because of his circumstance. And, he turned that into $100 and some million, and then a fashion line, and turned that into $260 or something million, and, then jewelry and financial services and so on, and kept getting these, large sales. And he says it every time, including your friends and family, they say, you don't know anything about that. You can't do that. And, if you're worried about what average people think, then, you're going to be, if you're influenced by that, you're going to have average outcomes. And if you want to have exceptional outcomes, you're going to have to do exceptional things. And I'm sure you'd agree with that. And a person that doesn't want to go through the trouble of doing exceptional things and being called those things or characterized in those sort of ways, then just settle for not much. If you want exceptional outcomes, you have to do exceptional things. I haven't found any deviation from that.
One of the things of coaching people is accountability. And one of the most difficult things for me is to set up a structure for my own coaching, executive coaching, and, from the most powerful people in the world, to be able to set it up so that when they do have their own setbacks, failures, or they don't do what they're supposed to do just because of human nature, which never changes, that you don't get blamed. I see a lot of the best coaches in the world have great successes with some people and other people that, in my opinion, are in their own way. I think there's a million different ways to be successful. The most important one is someone to stick to a plan, right? There's so many ways. How do you help your clients that aren't successful not go to blame, shame, and justification?
I try to screen very hard up front. There's some people that that's just what they're going to do. It's as if they made it their desire or their destiny, that there's just what they're going to do. They want to blame somebody else, take a path of least resistance, have not much, and settle for that. And I just try to weed those people out. I don't want those people to be my clients. You can't just buy my programs. You can't just buy coaching with me. That you have to go past those gatekeepers. You have to go past my gatekeepers. And if it's not clear that you're serious and dedicated to a better future, I don't want to work with clients like that. I can't be more dedicated to somebody's future than they are themselves.
And how do you, one of the things are, I'll take my business partner, Warren Moon, probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he knows he's not a great coach, right? This is not something he wants to do because it takes a different type of mindset to empower others with the knowledge that you have to effectuate it. What are some of the secrets that you have, because you're such an extraordinary coach, of utilizing a mindset to bring the most out of somebody with the knowledge that you have?
You got to break people out of their normal day-to-day thing. If their day-to-day routine was working for them, they wouldn't be looking for help from me. And I'm very tough love. I don't want just any client. I want somebody who's serious, dedicated to a better future. I want somebody that has at least $1 million goal. What the hell can you buy with $1 million? Well, how much property could you buy in Manhattan or San Francisco with $1 million right now? You could buy a nice parking spot. You could buy a great parking spot. So when somebody's telling me, I want to be rich, I want this or that, I think $1 million is that's a foundation. You're doing something now. Now you're not stressed out about paying your bills, et cetera, et cetera. And you have a foundation to do something serious. Your work's not done.
Right.
But you have a foundation to do something serious. And I want to get to those people that if they have tiny goals, they don't need my help to have accomplished little tiny nothing. They can do that by themselves. They don't need help from a professional like you. They don't need help from a professional like me to do not much. So I want to work with people that have at least $1 million goal of future net worth. A lot of my clients are already millionaires or multimillionaires when they come see me. I'm sure you have the same circumstance. I know you do.
Yeah, no, and I do. I think I really enjoy all aspects. So doing stuff for free for people that can't afford it, that have little goals, right? Getting them started, then a group setting maybe, then one-on-one, then high level, executive coaching. But even moreover, you have some certain specialties with your coaching.
I help people with 3 areas.
Yep.
I don't help people with their diet. I don't help people learn how to knit or crochet. I do help people get away from a job and have more financial freedom through entrepreneurship. And I don't think I help people with investing too, but I don't think you're going to be a very good investor if you can't understand fundamentals of entrepreneurship, of how does a business work? How do you really build a business? What are the nuts and bolts? How do you create great client satisfaction? So you have a lot of clients and have fantastic return clients. So I help people primarily, how do we transition from earning money as income through as an employee to doing something more entrepreneurial based. And I think that you're the CEO of your life, whether you want to be or not. Nobody's more responsible for your outcomes or mine than you or me. And a person that doesn't want to take that responsibility is not the right person. But a person who sees that, because a lot of people say, well, I don't have a business yet. Well, you don't have to have a business. You still, if you did entrepreneurial things in your job, would you get raises? Would you get promotions? Would you have money that you can invest and be closer to having financial freedom? So I want to help people to live a more entrepreneurial life, whether that's in someone else's organization and then take those additional proceeds and invest it, or whether that's building up a side income. I think if a person that has a job and you go build up a side income, that it might start very small. You might fail a dozen times before you find something that works and starts growing. But if you were making half of the money in your side income that you were making in your job, there's a lot of people that would quit that job and double down on what's working, and pretty soon they'd be making a lot more than they were in their job. And I think you don't got to be a great entrepreneur. You don't have to be a world's best entrepreneur to make a lot of money. You don't need a $200 billion. What are the world's best entrepreneurs worth today? 100 and something, almost $200 billion. You don't need to be world's best. If you were good, if you were an okay entrepreneur, you'd make a few $100,000 a year.
Oh, for sure.
If you were an okay entrepreneur, you'd make a few $100,000 a year. So what if you left your living expenses, $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month? You didn't get carried away with living expenses, but you were comfortable, worked hard. You'd be putting away a few $100,000 a year. And if you did that for a few years and you saved that money and invested it, At some point, just like you made enough money in your entrepreneurial endeavor that you don't have time to show up for work anymore. And then there's a point in investing that you're making so much money from your investments, you wouldn't have time for any sort of entrepreneurship that you didn't find sincerely fulfilling. You might still be an entrepreneur in your heart and you might do those things, but you wouldn't do things because you have to. You do things because you love doing that. You love helping those people. But I think that's the path to fulfillment. If you have financial freedom, you can spend your life doing things you like to do, you want to do, rather than feeling like you have to do something for someone else.
Yeah, we'll take it even a step farther, just mindset of getting to do everything instead of got to do things. And then moreover, one of my mentors, Bob Proctor, early on when I recovered from losing over $100 million, he said, first thing I want you to do, Dave, I want you to save $2 million. I want you to cut all expenses down. I want you to appreciate your life, have a mindset that you have everything that you need, but I want you to save $2 million because you'll see, once you save $2 million, you'll be able to shop for what you want. And if you shop for the right things this time, not what you don't need, not what other people want for you, not to impress anyone, especially people you don't like, which I always found so interesting about myself is I had all that money and I was shopping for things to impress people I didn't even like, causing a great spiral in my life. So many different markets. There's NFTs, crypto, there's stock market, there's real estate, there's all types of places to put your money. And I love your strategy of, the more money that you have, the more options you have, and the more time that you have, and you're able to do more of the things that you want to do, which will make you happy. There's market makers in buy and sell side of everything. Where are some of the areas that you coach people to build wealth once they do save that money in order to invest?
I'm not a guy that teaches people get rich quick. All the internet's full of nonsense. Get rich quick. There's a good way to get broke quick. You know that.
Yeah.
I want to teach them. I'm not a trendy person. I don't give a shit what the new trendy thing is. I want to do things that are going to work consistently. I want to do things where I have a mathematical or psychological advantage in the market, that I'm seeing something that normal people either don't see or they're too scared to take action on it. So I love distressed investing, for instance. I've done that in real estate. I made significant money in the last crash. I made significant money in real estate investing. Everybody else was buying houses for 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar, 3-bed, 2-bath. I was buying premier land deals. I wanted to buy very high quality land because at that time you could buy a house for less than it cost to build a house, and nobody wanted the land because they don't want to pay the holding costs. So I was buying land for 15, 20 cents on the dollar, sometimes 12 cents on the dollar for really high quality stuff.
Yep.
And then sometimes you're not even paying cash for all of that. You have some leverage on that you might have a contract for deed with a bank or things like that. You find somebody that's distressed. You basically act as a co-signer, and get the bank to agree that they'll let go of those properties after you make whatever amortization schedule and pay them down. And then we were selling some of the things 18 months later for 3 times what we paid for it. 12, 14 times cash on cash returns. You do that for a little while, it starts to add up.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, looking out there, there's so many coaches, especially now because self-development has become just such a hot type of area to be in, and the expertise that so many different people have in so many different areas. And yet you really have stood out, which, brings the positive and the negative, right? I always say that people love you or hate you. That's a good thing. If only nobody cares, it's a bad thing. Gary V, a friend of mine, he always talks about when I got my first troll, someone out there like, he's like, finally, you're taking a stance on somebody in something instead of being a middle of the roader. You got to take a stance. What makes you different than all, including me, right? What makes you different or makes you stand out as a coach when there's so many different options in so many different areas?
Gary and I have spent a lot of time together. We're both members of a certain organization that we've actually been on boat cruises and spent some significant time together. But regarding the coaching is, I just want to teach people what works. I need somebody that's already, I can't help somebody be motivated. I really am slightly insulted when somebody says on Instagram or whatnot, that's so motivational. Yeah, but you got to get up and do something.
Right.
So I don't want to motivate somebody. I want to find somebody that they're already very motivated. They got an above average education, above average work ethic. And if you could give them a plan, if you say, all right, pay attention here, pay it now here. How do those pieces fit together? Submit your homework. If you don't submit your homework, you don't get to continue in the program.
Nice.
If you're not going to take it serious, one warning. If they miss a phone call, if they miss a meeting, they don't do their homework, we just kick them out of the program. I tell everybody that on the first day. We'll have 100 and some people on a coaching program, a group program, start at $5,000. And I tell them on the first day, a few of you aren't going to make it. A few of you are just, you're not going to do the homework. You're not going to take it seriously. I look forward to kicking your ass out of the program. There's only one group of people that like that more than me, is the other clients. Right. My clients are serious, and they don't want to associate with someone like that either.
So smart.
You have to have that accountability. I'm not there to motivate. I'm not a motivational coach. If you're not motivated, don't come. But if you are motivated, if you got above average work ethic, above average education, you know that you're worth more. You know that your potential is a hell of a lot more than you're currently earning. I can help that person a hell of a lot.
You have so much situational knowledge and experience. I call it dummy tax, right? You and I both play.
I paid it.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the type of coaches or executive mentors that I want in my life, are people that sit in a situation that I want to be in and give me directions to how to get to where they are. And that's basically what you're doing. You have a great ability now through those lessons, through the dummy tax, to have an interesting outlook or prospect on the future. And you were able to do it, for example, unlike me during the downturn, right? I over leveraged myself, didn't ask for help, did a variety of different things, didn't understand the financing. You obviously understood and asked for help from the bank of how exactly that all worked. I mean, I should have been worth 5 times as much as I was, but instead I lost $100 million because I didn't want to ask for help. People are here that can ask you for help of what you know to get to where you want to be. What's your outlook for the next 6 to 12 months? What should people should be looking for? What are you teaching?
In any economy, there's mispriced assets. In any economy, there's something that's being neglected that is going to be valued, more highly, or it's going to go down significantly in the future. You can make money shorting things too. I think that you need to understand 3 things. If you want to make money in any economy, you're going to have to understand entrepreneurship again. If you don't understand how a business works, how the hell are you going to invest in businesses in the stock market or real estate? Or how are you going to invest in something if you don't understand the fundamentals of business? You have to understand how entrepreneurship works. I teach that in my Moneyberg mentoring program. The other 2 courses that I offer, one is about global markets. Global markets, there's a heavy focus on the stock market, but there's options contracts, futures contracts, commodities, cryptocurrencies, real foreign exchange. Every idiot that says Forex on the internet, they don't even know that Forex means foreign exchange. They don't even know what the hell that means. I went to the University of Chicago and studied that with Harvard PhDs and acclaimed professors. I didn't take some clown's course on the internet, Forex trading. So you need to understand how global markets work. And it's not enough to understand, I'm a blah, blah, blah trader in this niche. If you don't understand how the economy fits together, how can you make a firm decision in any niche within the economy if you don't understand the bigger picture? So you have to understand. That's why it's not a stock market course. It's global markets. How does everything fit together? And third is real estate. And most millionaires have, something over 90% of millionaires made at least a significant portion of their money from real estate. It's the common element of wealth creation. So I think if you understood those 3 things, you're going to make money one way or another. You're going to find something in any economy that, well, I think this is going to be going down. I should be shorting that. Or I think this is going to do better in the future. Let me reallocate my resources over there and ride that wave.
Where can people sign up for your courses?
Go to moneyberg.com. Probably really the easiest way if you're serious is, send me a DM. Go to Instagram, Derek Moneyberg. Got about 1 million followers. And Instagram, if you send me, if you're fine with this, Dave, send me the word Meltzer. Send me Dave's last name. DM me Dave's last name.
DM Dave Meltzer. See, DM. There you go.
I'd like to invite. You said it was okay to do this. I'd like to invite that anybody would like to have a serious conversation. I'll spend a couple hours in a Zoom call. We have a group call. If they DM me your name, we'll have a group Zoom call. I'll put it on the schedule. 10 days or so after we air here, and we could have a serious conversation with the people that might want to be clients or might want to know more how I could help them personally to advance their financial goals and have more financial freedom in their lives.
Well, you have, just like I'm a DM, you have a perfect name for what you do, right? Derek Moneyberg is another DM there. Find your Moneyberg, the Goldberg of all standards of coaching. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.